Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is Laughin' Games here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 SC EVO mod cast. We have got ourselves what should be a very exciting best of 3 here today. It's going to be Wayne taking on Classic in a PvZ Protoss versus Zerg match that I'm very excited for. For those of you that don't know, the SC EVO mod is, well, StarCraft Evolution, which adds in Brood War to the StarCraft 2 engine, and in essence it adds 3 slightly tweaked but very unique races to the game that are tried and true and loved by very many people. And so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and click that like button. Looks like we've got some interesting maps already with Neo Isles of, I believe it's Neo Isles of Man, I want to say, but don't quote me on that. And for those of you wondering, yes, this is a complete air map. So, or a complete island map. So there's no way just to go for like an early pool and Ling rush your opponent, that kind of thing. So I am a little bit concerned by the fact that Wayne is going for a quick spawning pool. Maybe he wouldn't be the first player to be caught off guard by this map. Classic himself goes for a gateway into Nexus. I very much would have liked to have seen like a expo first for each player. But it's going to be a really interesting match between Wayne and Classic, as they'll have to come up with ways to get their units to the other side of the map with those islands. I think Zerg probably has a little bit of a disadvantage in this setup, just because, well, I mean, Zerg isn't exactly known for building bridges or anything like that, whereas Protoss, StarCraft 2 Protoss anyway, they have units like Phoenix, they have Warp Gate, Recall, that kind of thing. Very helpful tech to kind of dominate on an island map. So I'm really curious how Wayne is going to approach this. He is evolving his lair now, and he's going to go into a Hydra Den already. There is the potential for, say, Dropper Lords, I believe, that kind of thing. And then, oh, look at that. There's the upgrades. It actually tells us the exact details of them. Very cool. Pneumatized carapace, antenna. So yeah, we very well may just see mutas potentially out of Wayne, as that is an air unit. At the same time, mutas kind of get hard countered by things like Phoenix, and Classic is going into double Stargate behind this. I think the gravity of the situation for these players is kind of setting in, where they're like, oh boy, we are on islands. So that decision to go for double Stargate for Classic, I think, is a great one. And that's going to put Wayne into a bit of a rough economic position. I think he's getting grooved to spines, so just going to be trying to defend with Hydras against the Phoenix of Classic. It's important to note that Brood War Zerg, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't have Queens out by default to be anti-air. So that does limit the anti-air of the Zerg. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. If we can hit, say, 10 likes on this video, that would be amazing. Most importantly, do subscribe, as this is a newer channel. We're putting out StarCraft 2 videos daily presently. And yeah, I'm just very excited to see where this one's going to go. First, Phoenix rolls in for Classic. Wayne, turn that drone into a Hydra Den, I believe it was, when he probably meant to build a creep colony. Maybe mixed his hotkeys up from StarCraft 2. I honestly couldn't tell you for sure. Now we are seeing Ventral Sacs on the way. That will allow Overlords to move Wayne's units across the map, and it's not that far of a distance. He's also getting, well, Groove Spines, give those Hydras the extra range. But yeah, let's see. That is just a sunken colony, or a creep colony. It is not a sunken, pardon me, not a spore colony, which does require an EVO chamber for Brood War Zerg. So Classic is able to get 3 drones that were undefended for Wayne. That's a nice pickoff. He is then going, he tries to lift up some of those Hydras, but doesn't really succeed as the Hydras push him away. It's notable that Brood War Hydras are not light units, so Phoenix will not have the bonus damage versus them, but they're still doing quite a bit of work, so Classic is going to grab those 3, actually. And man, oh man, this map is not looking that good for Wayne. It was actually just 2 that he got, pardon me, as that other one did stay alive. So the Hydras definitely benefit from, well, being cheaper supply in Brood War, not being light units. He's got the extra move speed, got the extra range, well, move speed from creep. But yeah, we'll see whether Wayne is able to repel Classic and not take too much harassment damage from this. Classic finds all the Overlords. These Hydras are still a little bit slow. Muscular Augments is evolving. That's going to make them quicker, which is an absolute must. But Classic is just pumping Phoenix out on 2 bases, going up to a 3rd. He's seen all the Dropper Lords, the Overlords now, which have a speed upgrade. As we see, Wayne is getting ready to make the big attack across the map. He does have 18 Hydras against the 10 Phoenix of Classic. It's going to be a very interesting engagement, having to shuttle all these across the map, but he is just going to be going for it. And yeah, besides that, Classic really doesn't have a lot to defend this right now. So we'll see whether he can snipe down some of these Dropper Lords before they get in. Wayne is really just going for it. Classic targets down the wrong Overlord, and now the Hydras are unloading, but probes are going to be pulled right into this, and not all the Dropper Lords are unloading. One of them still has 3 Hydras in it that are just sitting there doing nothing. That is a big mistake for Wayne. I believe Classic must have got some economic damage done on the other side of the map, as it said quite a few drones died. So pardon me for missing that. It must have been the Phoenix before they went home to help deal with that. The Hydras did manage to get unloaded and get established here. They really, really are benefiting from having that extra, well, from not being light units, because the Phoenix don't kill them nearly as quickly. Classic doesn't have a ton of energy. Wayne is going to try and pick off this pylon. Classic turns around. The Hydras are trying to do what they can, but they're kind of stranded right now, and it is only like 8 Hydras here against what is 16 Phoenix. So Classic should be able to engage this eventually, and he's going to lift up another one of those Hydras. He is limited by his energy. He finds another Overlord, another 2 Overlords actually trying to drop some of these Hydras. Classic is still mining with his 3rd base. This is quite a tricky map, and well done by Classic in order to take the win. But I feel like that's a very tough map to play Zerg on, most likely. So we're going to see whether Wayne can pull it back with a reverse matchup, as he will be playing Starcraft 2 Zerg against Brood War Protoss. And that will be really a different change of pace, seeing as how you can actually walk to your opponent's side of the map. I believe the maps are predetermined for these best of 3s / best of 5s, so don't quote me on that. As if there was a veto system, I get a feeling that would be something Zerg players would veto quite regularly, as a bit of a mulligan, dare I say. It's just incredibly uncharted territory. Like, Brood War versus StarCraft 2 is very uncharted. Brood War versus StarCraft 2 with no islands, when Wayne is, well, with islands and no ramps, is when Wayne is in really uncharted territory. I mean, StarCraft 2 Zerg could at least throw up a Nidus, that kind of thing, and reinforce quickly, but then you're trying to micro to shuttle your Hydras across the map. Not an easy spot for Wayne to be in. And yeah, who knows, maybe he should have tried making Mutas and Scourges. I don't know how Scourges do against Phoenix. We do actually have a hatch block for Wayne, so that's a very cool opening from the Zerg. Classic pulls 1 probe. He's yet to pull any more onto this. And it looks like he's actually thinking of trying to build that wall solid as quickly as he can. He adds an extra pylon. Still not pulling any probes against this rush from Wayne. So I'm curious. We do have the pool on the way for Wayne. We've got gas starting to build. We may see a Roach Warren as soon as this pool's done, and that could be quite problematic for the Protoss. I mean, if Classic can even, or if Wayne, pardon me, can even get a Creep Tumor down, that would be ginormous if he produces a Queen from this hatchery, because, like, Classic doesn't want to build a Robo and then make an Observation Bay, which is what you need to build Observers as Brood War Protoss. Either that or he'd have to build a Forge. There is going to be 2 Zealots out for Classic to start attacking this hatchery, though, which is why he did not... which is why he didn't pull any probes against this. He says, nope, I'm just going to make Zealots to handle this. So I think Wayne would probably be better off just canceling this, maybe like running it to the main and restarting it or something, as that is a very cool play by the Zerg. He's actually going to let that finish up to delay Classic's build. He's going to go into Lings from this hatchery for starters, and Lings are very difficult to catch with Zealots, so they could cause a fair nuisance for the Protoss, pardon me. We have a Dragoon on the way. Classic has got 4 Zealots, which is a ridiculous amount. He's trying to intercept the Lings, but is unable to do so. Another Larva pops up, so Wayne is going to potentially have 6 Lings that he can micro endlessly inside Classic's main base, although Probes and Zealots are pretty good against 2 Zerglings. Broodling's running after this. The other 2 Lings actually just head on out the door, which is quite comical, as Wayne is just chilling on Lings, getting out speed. And yeah, we'll see where this game's going to go from here. He doesn't even have a queen in his main base. It's going towards his natural now. I guess that's just for defense, that kind of thing. Third hatchery will be going up for Wayne. He is producing a boatload of Lings, realizing that there is a real counter threat, as Classic has effectively won basing it here. And yeah, Wayne is just going to pump out lots and lots of Zerglings, waiting for Ling speed to finish up, so then he can potentially shut this down. Classic has yet to expand, which is a very late expansion. The Zerg is presently up to 12 Lings against 4 Zealots, 2 Dragoons crossing the map. Metabolic Boost isn't done just yet. It's 10 seconds away, but it should be done in time to try and shut this down. So Wayne has read this game quite correctly, I think, because gobbling up these 4 Zealots will be really nice for him. And there's the Ling speed done, so he's going to go for it. He's got more Lings on the way out. That's going to be a beautiful surround on the Lings, as Wayne is even trying to micro back the ones that took a stab so he can keep them alive. He will clean up the 4 Zealots for rather minimal commitment. Well, I say rather minimal losses instead of commitment, as he did have to make a lot of Lings in order to get that good trade. He got supply blocked as he lost another Overlord. Classic has a nice solid wall at the front, and he's also got a Reaver on the way, which is gonna probably ruin the party for these Zerglings. It's gonna be a really good micro test for Wayne. He wanted to try and eat that pylon, but the pylon is just going to start regenerating HP. They're also tankier in Brood War, by the way, 300 HP instead of the 200 of Starcraft 2 Protoss. That Reaver is now moving out for a drop, and Wayne, oh, he's starting a Baneling Nest. Did he cancel that? I thought he already had one up, but anyway, now he's going to have to defend against Reaver drops with just Lings and Queens. That is going to be painful because he cannot afford to lose many Lings. Classic has got his Nexus up, so he's now mining off of 2 bases. So their economies are fairly even. Look at this, the Reaver chasing down a drone. 15 minerals for 50. Not a bad trade for the toss, as the Lings are coming back and they're just like, oh no, this is not good. As Lings are now going to try and surround that Reaver. It can just lift up and unload potentially. Another Queen comes down to try and chase after this. And the Reaver does take a second to fire its shot, but there it is, instantly deleting those Lings upon the second cooldown completion from the landing. And so that was really great for Classic. He's actually just going to try and kill off this larva. It does take 3 shots to kill off a morphing egg, apparently, which I did not know, but that's going to slow down the Zerg's economy quite a great deal, seeing as how Wayne is already short on Queens, so he's floating a little bit of money right now, and that Reaver can just keep landing, and it is so painful, as those Scarabs are only 15 minerals each. I mean, at least they cost something, but it is still not a comfortable spot for the Zerg to be in. Classic is coming on in. He's actually attacking the third of Wayne. He's got the Reaver behind this. He's having a micro. He does dodge one shot, but there's going to be another where that came from. Second one goes off on the Queen. Lings are getting a pretty solid surround on some of these Dragoons. More and more Lings are being produced for Wayne. The Reaver is just causing so much damage, though it's ridiculous. And looks like most of those Reavers go down, but pretty much all the Lings have gone down. Most of the Dragoons have gone down, pardon me. So Wayne holds that, but he is still not in a great spot. And yeah, Classic is continuing to push towards the third of the Zerg. We're seeing an attempted counterattack. However, there's 5 Dragoons being produced at a time back at home. Wayne realizing, I cannot fight those Reavers. They really are quite problematic for the Zerg player. Classic seems to be a master at exploiting both StarCraft 2 Protoss and Brood War Protoss. That's not really a surprise, but Reavers are one of those units that they're just, you have to play like a god, basically, to counter them. And I mean, lots of players do. They counter Disruptors in StarCraft 2, but they're just not practiced against Reavers when they're playing in these unique matchups. So who knows, maybe Zerg needs a Spire or something to try and chase down the Prism or Spore placement, but they do so much damage So Wayne really is in a rough spot. That's why he's going to be committing to an attempted counterattack, but it's going to be Lings and Banes against Reavers, which are Dragoons, pardon me. I keep messing that one up. Which are very tanky units, so the Banelings are rolling forward, but look at that. Classic is such a defense. I think he's probably just going to walk away with the 2-0. The Banelings even hit the pylon, but it's like hitting 1.5 pylons. Wayne knows it's over. Classic takes the quick 2-0 just like that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this match, go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying, well, more SC EVO, or just let me know if you have feedback for the cast, that kind of thing. I read pretty much every comment. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.